And I came here to seek my fortune. And I'm still seeking it. I'm hoping that I find it. Now, I've been privileged to work with B. Martin, Millard Long, Kermit Hampton, Boone, and Kenton County farmer, he moved to Florida. I told you about him. Now, Honeybee Martin and I and a lady, Judy Schroeder, we took bees out of, I've got pictures here of that. We took bees out of a building behind the extension office in Williamstown. We estimated over 300 pounds of honey in that wall, and you'll see. We took a lot of honey out. Judy still has a working hive that could have been, I haven't talked to her for a year and a half, it could be descendants of those bees from the Napier household. Now, we took those bees out and we gave them to her. Now, I've worked with Jewel Peoples, Charles Bud Holloway. Does anybody know him? He said I could use his name. Just 2 weeks ago, a bee got up his nose, but it got under his veil. And Charles's mother, Rose Simpson Holloway, one of the most blessed people that I could ever meet. It appears like that her father kept bees, or her brother. But her uncle, her uncle would tell her brother or her dad, whichever. Now let me tell you, it's a sorry beekeeper who will take all of the honey and starve his bees. Well, every time she would see me, bless her heart, she would remind me, don't take all the honey. Don't starve your bees. Well, you know, after a while, those things can get the right people tell you. But I love to hear that from her, and I told Charles so. Charles is up in his 70s, and he's a retired counselor, I believe, with the Boone County. Herbert Bud Johnson, Jerry Brown, and there's many others. Millard Long, Caitlin's Honey, Ron Spilly of Spilly Concrete, now it's Spilly Bees. There's the Brueggemans on Beaver Road, Rita Busheman, Richard Conrad, Jim Krieger, he's a sawmill man, Anthony Deppingbrock, he's the business manager for the Catholic institution here on over off of Donaldson Road. There are many others. I've worked with them. We've worked together. I've had a wonderful experience in Boone County, in Northern Kentucky. Now, let's sum it up in a way that's very practical, considering this subject. History of Boone County. A very important fact for all of us is using some of the words from the history of the Lutheran Church. H. Max Lentz. Local history lacks appreciation. Valuable records are destroyed or lost. We lose them. They're neglected. The people who make history are careless in preserving these. So folks, I really empathize with you trying to find good history, because I've had one heck of a time finding anything that I haven't learned incidentally, but you know, you want it to be fact. Well, it's hard to find. Now, the historical societies are doing a great service for their communities. Now, we have a large dependency on honeybees. And if we don't preserve them, we'll lose about a third of our food supply. So you keep getting your history. If you find something, we just met a lady down in the lobby. Her name was Rhonda. She said, "What are you carrying there under that towel?" It looked sort of strange, didn't it? A lot of government buildings would search us. And I invite a search of that big animal. But Rhonda wanted to know. So we opened the towel up and we showed her. She says, "Wonderful, wonderful." And one of us told her that we had honey from all over the world. She said, "How do you get it?" I said, "From people like you. We show you our bees, and next time you go to Cancun or Mexico or Panama or someplace, you're going to bring a spec. She said, I don't know you. I said, here's your card. She said, I just got back last week from Cancun. But see, I tell you, you gotta love what you do, and you gotta do what you love. And folks, I hope that you love what you're doing, because this is great. This is really great that you get this together. Not that I come here tonight, but I wish I had lots of other things to tell you. But I'll promise you this. I'll send something to you if I learn about it, okay? But please come up, take a look at what we got. We got milk and honey soap that was made at Big Boone 5 years ago. And I've got folk from Vevey, Indiana, there's a bar of soap there from over there. The little girl, they homeschool their kids, and they like me. The family likes me. And so we've worked together on several projects. And there's other bee stuff, there's stories here. And if you want to ask about these alternative bee boxes we'll talk about that. But please come up and take a look at what we got. Thank you very much. But if you find a music job for my buddy, let me know.
Could I ask a question, please?
Yes.
Are there, because of that parasite, that terrible parasite that's going around, do we have fewer bees in our area than we used to? Has it gotten to our bees?
Well, yes. Let me address that just a minute. We're trying our darndest to get around that. We're using some homegrown remedies. And when you talk about the parasites, that's not the only malady that's facing the bees. Chemicals. And in Boone County specifically, you're getting more and more islands, we want to say, of concrete. Look at the airport. The bee would have to fly. Hey, you put a beehive in the middle of the airport, it would starve to death because they travel 2 miles. Gee, you know, that's just about like Claremont County. I took a course at Xavier, and that instructor there, Mr. Bryant, Dr. Bryant, told me, he said, you know, crows used to have to pack their lunch to fly over Claremont County. Those bees could live on, but you get what I'm trying to say here? And insecticides, we're spraying, we're killing them. So folks, let me tell you, I didn't bring with me the little wasp nest that I fostered at my home. Now my home is my castle. Anything coming into my house is going to be shown the door. But if anything, I have wasp in my barn, and that board that I passed around there was cut out of my little shed out back. Those carpenter bees are welcome. What I do is I lay a 2x4 up out on a fence somewhere or in a tree, and I tell the carpenter bees, now listen, you dig one more hole in that barn. Out there is where I want you. But you know, me and the bees don't communicate very well. But that's the feral colonies. Those are the ones that's out in the wild. There's a Firestone sign out here on Zigzag Road. Is that Zigzag Road out here in the valley off of Route 18? It cost $160 to get a high lift, to lift me up there and put a box up there like that to try to trap the bees out of that sign. Come to find out, they were also in the other column. So the man that owns the station, he said, look, my boss here, he said she's a fanatic. I shouldn't say that on tape here. Can you erase that?
You can turn it off.
He said she really is concerned about preserving and saving bees. But he says we cannot continue to pay $60 an hour for a high lift to get you up there. I was only teasing. To get you up there to save those bees when you can order a package of bees for $30. But that's where we are. We're trying to save them. Now, the mites might get those bees. The man's bees that's out near Connor High School, might swarm. And bees are drawn to nectar or honey or old nest, and they go there and they'll establish again. The mites get them, they're gone, a new swarm comes in. But we have probably, I would say that we're down, at one time we were about 96% loss on feral colonies. And I don't know what the losses are this year, but knock on wood, my bees look to be pretty strong. That hive was extremely strong, but I had to use chemicals in that hive. And we're trying to work, in our group, we're trying to use, household items that would help to save them. But it's up to the gardeners. And those wasps, what I was going to tell you, those wasps will go out and pick those little caterpillars, those little aphids up. They carry them back to their nest. They give them a shot of that venom that enzyme that they have in their sting, and they numb or paralyze, thank you. I'm at the first stages of Alzheimer's. But they paralyze that little worm, and they lay an egg inside of it. Then when that egg pupates and develops a larvae and then a pupa, it feeds off of that, see? Natural insecticide. So what do? We're spraying, we're killing everything. Then what happens? We have an onslaught of Japanese beetles. At my home, you can't walk through the house without stepping on a ladybug. Hey, I don't care. They're all in my beehives. But I'm thankful to God that they're there. They're eating those little critters up.